I want to touch on the Cleveland Browns, man. Unfortunately,
You know,
well, I'm not gonna say I want to touch on them. I feel like we should, man, because that's a
Yeah, it's
developing story
more shenanigans.
in the NFL landscape. Obviously, they traded Joe Flacco last week, and he started for the Cincinnati Bengals, and and then it was assumed that Shedeur would be named the backup, but they called Bailey Zappi up off the practice squad, and there was a lot of consternation around that, and then he said, well, we'll see whether or not Kevin Stefanski kind of played chicken with the media,
Yeah.
and eventually did end up naming Shedeur as the backup. But there was some weirdness around practice. Still, the word is around there he won't let Shedeur take reps with the ones. He put Shedeur over on the practice squad field with Bailey Zappi, as opposed to having him on the main field with Dylan Gabriel. There's a lot of weird behavior, a lot of odd stories coming out of Cleveland about the way the quarterback situation is being handled. What do you make of that? I mean,
what you describe as weird behavior, I call straight bullshit. I mean, come on, man. Bailey Zapp. What are we doing with Bailey Zappi? And I'm hearing all this. Well, we don't want to do a disservice to Shedeur and set him up when we name him the backup quarterback. We want to have a, special playbook for him. Like, he's some short bus quarterback that doesn't know how to play the position he's been playing his whole life since he picked up a football. Like, what are we doing here?
Yeah.
Like, I'm sick of it. Like, if you don't want the kid there, put him on the market.
If you put him on the practice squad, I guarantee somebody else will pick him
That's
up.
What I'm saying. I mean, if you don't want him there, like, who? Like, I don't get it. Like, is it because of the jersey sales and the Browns organization gets a cut of that, and that's why they're keeping him around? Or I don't understand it, because it's clear to me that they're really not interested in giving him a fair shot per se, unless I don't want to wish any injury or ill harm to Dylan Gabriel, but I mean, theoretically, what's it going to take for him to see the field after you just watched this Dylan Gabriel throw the ball 52 times for 230 yards? And and what are we doing?
I think, in my opinion, it's a Jimmy Haslam call. I think it's clear at this point that the reports that came out after the draft that it was the owner's call on drafting Shedeur.
Mm-hmm.
I think as we go on more and more, it's
Jim Haslam's a
more
doofus.
And I think that's why he hasn't been put on the practice squad or put up to see what his value would be on the market and whatnot, because the owner wants him there instead of the coaching staff.
It's got to be something, man. Because I'm like, I'm starting to go like tinfoil Koofy.
Here's my thing, man.
What say you?
Here's my read on the situation. Because, and again, this is why the reason that this podcast exists is because when you're watching these sports commentary shows, you got to remember that all of them are on networks that, they clicked in with the NFL. Because the one question that I have not heard asked, certainly not answered, is what evidence do we have that Kevin Stefanski can evaluate quarterback talent?
Hello.
When he got to Cleveland, they had Baker Mayfield,
#1 overall pick.
The first year he was there, they went 11-5, won a playoff game, went to Arrowhead, lost a 1-score game to the defending Super Bowl champion Chiefs.
Yeah.
The very next year, they traded Baker Mayfield for a conditional 5th-round pick, right? So you don't trade somebody you think can play for a conditional 5th-round pick, right?
And then
that's the first. Let me cook for a second.
Go on cook.
Then you were a part of the brain trust that brought in Deshaun Watson, gave him $228 million guaranteed, right? You don't give $228 million guaranteed to somebody who you think can't play, right? So you thought Deshaun Watson can play. Fast forward to this season. At the start of this season, and Mike Tomlin just called him out for this, by the way, told us Joe Flacco was good enough to be your day one starter. As the Cleveland Browns quarterback, Joe Flacco had a 55 quarterback rating and led the league in turnovers, right? Unceremoniously, he was traded to Cincinnati. So that's 3, right? So Baker Mayfield, you told us he couldn't play, he can. Deshaun Watson, you told us he can play, he can't. And Joe Flacco, you told us he can play, he can't. Right? So that's 3. Now let's talk about the current quarterback situation. We got Dillon Gabriel, we got Shedeur Sanders. You telling us Dillon Gabriel can play, and you telling us Shedeur Sanders can't play. As far as I'm concerned, Shedeur Sanders is on the right side of history where your track record is concerned. And I'm confused why everybody is confused about why the fan base is questioning Kevin Stefanski. Kevin Stefanski has illustrated no ability to, he hasn't demonstrated to anybody that he can assess quarterback talent. And by the way, over the past 23 games, Cleveland has scored over 20 points three times. Yeah. 3. And they had the number 5 pick in the draft this past season. They took a defensive tackle. Jackson Dart was on the board. He was there. And everybody might say, hey, nobody had Jackson Dart assessed that high. Hey, guess what? We not here to assess. He is. That's his job. He's supposed to be evaluating talent. And don't tell me about weapons either. Cleveland don't have no weapons. Jackson Dart is out there throwing to Lil Jordan Humphrey and Wan'Dale Robinson and 2 tight ends that could deliver your DoorDash and you wouldn't know who they were. So don't tell me about weapons. Jackson Dart is out there working with whatever he's got. His number 1 receiver is gone for the season.
I mean, his best weapon is the running back.
Yeah, and it's number 2, though. But that's what I'm saying. Cam Scatterboo like a 3rd round pick,
right.
though.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, teams blew it with him too.
That's what I'm saying. Like he making lemon meringue pie out of lemons.
Yep.
So Dillon Gabriel arguably got better weapons than Jackson Dart. You chose to take a defensive tackle with the number 5 pick, knowing that you had scored over 20 points 3 times in your last 23 games. You knowing your offense was challenged, and your defense was actually a strength. You actually got a real number 1 corner, the best edge rusher in football, and you decided to go defense first. So again, we have no evidence that Kevin Stefanski can actually assess quarterback talent. Everybody you tell us can't play quarterback can. Baker Mayfield got the 2nd best odds to win MVP right now. You told us he can't play. You traded him for a conditional 5th round pick. You jettisoned him from the Cleveland Browns your 2nd year there. So again, we trying to figure out why we should believe that you can assess quarterback talent instead of treating Shedeur like a redhead stepchild. You should be treating Shedeur like your last chance to prove that you can assess quarterback talent. Because I ain't even bring up Dorian Thompson-Robinson and you bringing in Kenny Pickett. And I mean, you have had a carousel of quarterbacks in your time as the Cleveland Browns head coach, and none of them have worked out.
DRC.
Yeah, none. You've had nobody work out, and you treating him like he's the problem. This is your 5th year. You've had a carousel of quarterbacks come through. You should be treating Shedeur like your main man because he's your last chance. Dillon Gabriel doesn't appear to be it. You don't have no more rope. You think they're going to let you in on the next quarterback selection?
In Cleveland? Absolutely.
Right. Why should they? Right. I mean,
that's what they do. Like,
right.
what do you mean? Like,
I mean, yeah,
they from the 99 and the 2000, they've been doing this, man. It's
right.
what they do.
But why would they? Why would they let you in on their quarterback selection? You've demonstrated no aptitude to pick a quarterback. None. The only good quarterback you ever had is playing for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. playing MVP level football, and you saw him every day in practice. His arm didn't get stronger. His traits didn't get better. His running ability didn't get better.
It was personal.
You just jettisoned him out of town. And so is the Shedeur thing.
Yep, it's personal.
It's personal. You leading with your pride, just like you did with Baker Mayfield.
Which is foolishness, because, I mean, you think about it, you could come away with that last draft with Mason Graham, best best defensive tackle that most people had coming out of the draft.
Mason Graham is great.
And then you have Shedeur Sanders, who, if they didn't have Cam Ward, it was Shedeur for the entire college football season last year. There was no conversation with any other quarterback. It was Cam Ward or Shedeur Sanders. Those were the two guys.
And he trying to ostracize Shedeur.
And, hey, man, if it wasn't Cleveland, it wouldn't be believable.
Yeah. But at any rate, man, let's move on to